Today on Pop Culture Minefield. This is how it is today. This is how it is today on Pop Culture Minefield.
All right, we got three people watching the show now. Yeah. So
God, this starts.
good morning, everybody. And so the week begins, unless of course your week begins on an odd day. There are those who have odd work weeks.
My
My
work week
week
starts
week.
Tuesday.
Yeah, mine
Me
starts on Thursday. When I was a paramedic, man, my work weeks rotated. 48 hours on, 72 off, 72 on, 48 off. It was really weird rotation. Living in a station house too. You get a little punchy in there and you do stuff, and we're all kind of a little pranky, not cranky, pranky. And I was notorious for doing stuff to people. There was this female that I served with as a paramedic, and she had a ferret, and she'd bring it in a little carrier, and leave it by her bed. And so I went and I bought a stuffed ferret doll, little cuddly animal. And I had one of the guys take her ferret upstairs and to play with it. So when she came back from a call, I had sprayed a mist onto the stuffed ferret, put it in the freezer. And right before they got there, because you could track them over the radio, we could hear them. They were giving call-ins to where they were. And I timed it to where I could get down there, put the ferret, the fake ferret in her cage, frozen. It was all frozen.
That is so fucked up, Gerry.
Wrong for that, bro. Wrong.
Yeah.
Then she freaked out and realized it was a stuffed animal. She came up there. We're playing with it. That was.
Sometimes I wonder if I met a younger version of you, would I like you? I don't think I would.
I was just more playful back in the day. More playful. Like Christopher Walken. Playful. Wow.
I don't know.
So, as I've gotten older, I don't give a shit much anymore to prank people. So it just stopped caring because it doesn't matter anymore. But when I was younger, pranking was fun. She's the one, by the way, she was the one who introduced me to Stephen Hawking. And because of her, I started reading about Stephen Hawking. She was a student working on her PhD in physics. I don't know whatever happened to her. We had a great crew, a lot of people. There was only one guy who he didn't know how to read a room with me. And he was about 5 seconds away from an ass beating one day. And one of my partners said, Gary's not smiling because he thinks what you're saying is amusing. He's smiling because he's pissed off. You better stop talking about his wife. And the guy looked at me and goes, oh, is this shit bothering you? And I went, yeah, you need to stop. Because I was about to just open a whole can of whoop ass on this guy. He's like, I'm an Army Ranger. I don't give a fuck. I will fuck you up. So that was something else I was when I was younger. I was more violent, prone to getting into fist fights. It wasn't until I was in my mid-30s, I'm like, I need to stop doing that. I might go to jail. Because I did get arrested a couple times, but it wasn't my fault. I just was with the wrong group, and then the cops would let me go. It was usually like college police, which are state troopers in Illinois. And they would put you in college jail which is like a room. Just ask you not to leave the room. There's no
Uh-huh.
bars. It's just a carpeted room and a big long table, and you just sort of sit in there. All right, Cassell, you're free to go. I'm like, nah, thanks. So, who's all here? Nobody's here yet in the chat.
Nope. We have 10 viewers. 5 on X.
Did you
5
say
on,
Bueller's?
on G.
Like Ferris Bueller? Bueller.
Yeah, Bueller, but spelled fuck you. No, we have 5 on X and 5 on 6 here on YouTube, but they are being shy today. Maybe their coffee hasn't kicked in yet.
That's possible. So
Whoa!
this,
And somebody just told us to shut up with this. Oh, nobody's talking. Boom, a super chat.
Yep.
Thank you, Lee. Oh, okay.
when you're done,
Oh, well-
I hope you stop back by, and thank you for the $4.99 pound sterling. So thank you very much. It's good seeing you, Lee. I hope you can come back. He's always asking great questions. So after gaining some attention from Blade Runner, it was while David Webb Peoples was working on Blade Runner that he came up with the idea for Soldier back in 81. And between 80 and 81, because the screenwriting was really early. And he came up with the idea for Soldier, and he always intended to have a second film. He had intended to make a second film. He had planned it out already. That in the second film, Todd would meet Deckard, Harrison Ford's character, in the second film.
Wow.
And so it was always intended to be in the same universe as Blade Runner. In fact, if you look at the film 2049, they give the year 2039 the year something had happened. I forget what the heck it is. And 2039 is when Todd takes place. You know, this story, Soldier.
Mm-hmm.
So, but there's, I had some problems with the idea that it's a sequel or sidequel because it doesn't line up. Because clearly he said, that Jason Scott Lee's character is a replicant. That whole group are replicants.
Yeah, they're talking about genetic experimenting and stuff like that.
And he referred to them. Yeah, he referred to them as Nexus 9s. And that was it. The Nexus 9 came out in 2039, which is when this movie takes place. But they don't strike me as Nexus 9s in the film. But whatever. So Todd was now what you would call an obsolete, because these things were genetically engineered to be perfect warriors, whereas he was human born, raised by the military. And if you notice some of the things in there, if you hear the stories of how the Spartans were, that's how they were raised. They were raised like Spartans. The big difference is they were training them not to be passionate and to repress all emotions.
Yep.
Which is what's the problem. And I think that if Peoples had a chance to write a real serious screenplay about this kind of story, he would have ended up showing how psychosis can happen with people like that are isolated from their emotions like that.
Yeah,
for a long
maybe
period
a
of
little
time.
deeper dive into that. Yeah, you definitely get some PTSD stuff out of it.
Well, they clearly have it. He has it, and they show. And what's interesting is the PTSD doesn't manifest until he's exposed to humans, regular humans.
Right.
And the minute he begins to, that's showing that he's now becoming in touch with his human side rather than just being a machine, a fighting machine. He's dealing with feelings. That's why when she touches him, it's like
Yes.
his
Yeah.
body doesn't even know how to handle it.
Yeah.
And he shakes, and he's absolutely out of his element and completely confused, and his body doesn't know what to do. I love the poster.
Yeah, it's very cool.
Kurt Russell in the 90s was in 3 of the most significantly awesome movies of the 90s. He was in Tombstone, he was in Stargate, and he was in this film.
Mhm.
And what hurts about Kurt Russell is, he gets a bad rap sometimes for being in movies that tanked. And
It's not his fault.
this
They
film,
tanked them.
no, it's not, because he's also in films that really did well. But it's because of this film that his superstar status was kind of killed, because this film did not do well in the theaters. It wasn't
No.
marketed correctly. And this happens so often with films that don't get marketed correctly.
Mhm.
But
John
it
Carpenter
really,
was the best example of that.
yeah. And he got screwed so badly by the studio system that he made that statement when somebody says, "Man, that film became one of the most popular films of all time." And he goes, "What the fuck good does that do me?" That's awesome now, but why wasn't it when it had its chance? And it should have been.
Right.
And he's talking about movies like The Thing,
Mhm.
and he and I mean, Kurt Russell, I don't think would have become the superstar if not for his relationship with John Carpenter, because Carpenter put him in 3 of his biggest films. And again, they grew popular with time.
Mhm.
They weren't box office hits. Big Trouble in Little China tanked. What a great film!
Yeah,
So
it's
much
a great
fun.
movie. Yeah, that was just fun.
Eh,
Yeah.
yeah, it's pure fun. And if you're watching that film to be educated, shown something amazing,
Come
you're
on,
in the
man.
wrong fucking theater.
Even
That
the
movie is
Orientals in that
purely
movie are
there
making
for,
fun of being Oriental. It's freaking
yeah,
funny as hell. Yeah.
because it absolutely, well, it also pays homage to Hong Kong cinema.
Yeah.
And it's something Carpenter had wanted to do for a long time.
Yeah.
And originally it was a Western. The whole story was the same story, but it took place in the West, old San Francisco.
Mhm.
And it had connections to Buckaroo Banzai too. But this film, it started out as a sequel or sidequel while David Webb Peoples was working on Blade Runner.
Hmm.
He thought this would be an interesting thing to happen. He came up with the character of Todd while writing Blade Runner with Hampton Fancher. And so Peoples is, by the way, a very good writer. You know how good he is because his screenplay, Unforgiven, won a fucking Oscar.
Yeah. Mhm.
And that was all him.
Mhm.
And I think that if this film was really did the work that it was supposed to do, but here's the trouble that it ran into. First, it was chopped with Clint Eastwood. And Clint Eastwood wanted to make it. And Ridley Scott was aware of this early on and thought it was interesting what he was doing. And Clint Eastwood absolutely wanted to do it, but when Blade Runner tanked, Warner Brothers unlit the green light.
Wow.
And so it went away. And they tried to find other actors, and Keanu is like one of the next actors I remember being considered for the role. But when they announced the budget of being around 65 million, it's like, we're not going to have Keanu Reeves, because Keanu was just in what's that one, the surfing film,
Point
with
Break.
Patrick Swayze, Point Break.
Oh, yeah.
And he wasn't big enough of a star, so they said no. And then they looked at Kurt Russell and they said, yeah, Kurt can work. Kurt could be good. But there was even another actor that got involved in the 80s. I can't remember who it is right now. But it was this production that started moving ahead. And when Kurt Russell agreed to do it, the problem was that he's like, if I'm going to do this film, I need to be in shape. I'm going to need 18 months, a year to 18 months. So they absolutely put this film on hold.
Wow.
And during that period of time, another film started being made and they lost their location.
Oh.
And it hurt the film. And that's why the film looks like it was all in a studio, because the entire film was shot in a studio.
Yeah.
They had to use green screen, and it absolutely had an impact on them. And even though, you know, the effects weren't horrible in the film, a lot of critics like Roger Ebert, Siskel and Ebert, they both kind of panned the film. The visual effects look like something from the early 80s. Yeah. Is what they put it, you know, and not very good. And just, it got a lot of bad reviews, the film. And all of them were over technical things. That was really their complaint. I don't recall anybody really going after the story. But I think that the studio, shooting the film in the studio hurt it. Because everything feels like it's in a can in the film. And audiences wanted to see that planet. But the planet ended up being the location shoot for another film, all because Kurt needed those 18 months.
Yeah. I got
he never wanted to do a movie like that again because of all the training.
Yes. He says, I'd never want to train like that again, ever. I'm too old for this shit.
Yeah.
And that's why, you know, he didn't want to be an action star. He wanted to be an actor. After that, he just wanted to stick to just the acting. Yeah. But I'm going to tell you also on this, I really love the casting of the kids in this film, because there's a slight resemblance to Kurt Russell with every single one of the kids.
Also, the kid and the teenage version, they really look like they could be the same person a couple of years apart.
Like he's and they actually have Wyatt. That's Wyatt right there.
That's Wyatt right there carrying the colors. Yeah.
Yep. He's carrying their colors. He is what's referred to as the guidon in U.S. Army.
And it's usually the best soldier. Yeah.
You can see the resemblance to his dad right there. Ridiculous.
Oh, yeah.
Now, this is the point where it gets like the Spartans, in that one kid's lagging behind, that vehicle pulls up to him, and then as you cut back to Wyatt Russell, you hear a gunshot. They shoot the fucking kid.
No, they don't shoot him. They just gift him some fireworks.
Sure. He went off to a farm to live happily ever after. I like this. The other thing I like with Kurt Russell, when he fires these weapons, his eyes don't wince ever. Yeah. That's because he's been around guns his whole life.
Oh, yeah.
Both in film and in real life. He's a hunter, avid hunter. And so when you see him firing the weapons in this full automatic, his eyes don't change. And I'm like, that was a really great shift. You go from the teenage version of Todd to now it's Kurt Russell. You know, and it's a really interesting beginning. I kind of like the way they did that. But again, the problem is that everything is shot in a can from this point forward. Even the outer space battles and stuff. And two of them are from Blade Runner. The Battle of shit, I forgot the battles now.
Tannhauser Gate and
Tannhauser Gate and
Orion's Shoulder.
Shoulder of Orion. And that was done on purpose. That was done by David Webb Peoples, that he was at battles that Roy Batty was at. So he existed at the same time as all the way up to the Nexus 6. And finally, the Nexus 9 comes out in 2039. And that's when this story is actually taking place, is in 2039. And so what David Webb Peoples is saying is that Jason Scott Lee and his team are replicants, and they are part of the Blade Runner universe. And here you get the confirmation, Tannhauser's Gate and Shoulder of Orion right there.
Mhm.
Oh. Nah.
Oh, okay. So again, once again, everything's closed in. There's no natural lighting. It's really off-putting. And I think that turned audiences off. Now, Gary Busey typically is cast as a wild and outrageous character. And Anderson thought it would be interesting to cast him as somebody that was calm and in control. And Jason Isaacs, because both of them had worked with Anderson before. And so he's really, he's typical director that likes to work with a lot of the same actors. It's his favorite teams. And so Jason Isaacs and Gary Busey had worked with him previously. The only new person with him really in this film is Kurt Russell and Jason Scott Lee. And Jason also beefed up for this role.
I was fixing to say he was a little bit trimmer in the Dragon.
He's more cut and he's beefier upstairs. He's got bigger shoulders.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay.
So immediately there's a competition here, and this is where it builds up to who's better. So Jason Scott Lee gets pitted against a bunch of theirs, but it's Todd that puts the hurt locker on him.
Mm-hmm.
He's the only one that was able to hurt him.
Yeah.
But first we have this race. Well, not a
the
race,
shooting,
a run.
We've had the range shooting. Again, so weird with everything inside.
Yeah, it's all tests.
Weight training.
Yeah.
It's also weird to send the Asian guy against a much older Todd. Like, how in hell is he going to stand a chance?
Because Todd is clearly close to 40.
He's in his 40s, yeah.
In real life, he was 40.
Like in his 20s.
He was on the verge of 50 when he did this role. And that's why, he said, man, I'm too old for this shit.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I mean, look at him.
He broke his ankle, by the way, early in the shooting of the film. And that's why in order to keep shooting, to shoot around his injury with the broken ankle, Kurt Russell did a lot of the laying scenes where he's in bed or laying down, resting or sitting.
Yep.
Those were all shot while he was injured until he recovered and continued.
And I remember that the run was shot with his ankle broken.
What?
He made that running with his ankle broken.
Really?
Kurt Russell, by the way, I want to point this out. He was a professional athlete. And he could have gone on to play baseball professionally.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, he's absolutely Iron Man material. He would love to. He excelled at athletics, and he was a runner. He would just like remember when we were younger, and they did a little show called Challenge of the Network Stars.
Yeah.
Okay, Kurt Russell got on there. Him and Robert Conrad were dead fucking serious about their competition in that. And the what do you call it? Where you pull rope challenge against people.
Tug of war.
Yeah, tug of war.
Mm-hmm.
Kurt Russell just fucking destroyed the other team almost by himself. Pulled him into the mud. It was great. My dad was a big fan of Kurt Russell. He liked him too.
I was a huge fan too. I mean, we grew up with him, Gary. He was in every Disney movie we watched as kids.
Well, I'm still so.
Oh, I am too. I will die a Kurt Russell fan, and apparently so did Walt Disney, because like the last thing he wrote down when he was dying was Kurt Russell, and I used to joke he meant to write Kurt Russell killed me, but died before he could finish it.
Yeah, he was in all those movies. Computer Wore Tennis Shoes, The Strongest Man in the World. He was in a bunch of those movies about Medfield College. Remember those? Yeah.
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 Kurt Russell.
You might say his stardom was tarnished, but I don't think his
No,
stardom.
I don't think so. I think he contributed to
Mhm.
Hollywood history
Oh,
with
yeah.
some very memorable films, which I consider this one of them.
Yeah.
Escape from New York. So here's what happened with him. So his last film was a Disney film, and the same year that he made that, I think it was 76. I think it was 1976. He made the Disney film, and then turned around and played Charles Whitman in the
Yeah.
Texas Tower.
Yeah, I did. Mm-hmm.
The Deadly Tower was made for TV movie where he was the killer.
Yep.
He never made a Disney film after that. They ended the contract because he did that on purpose. He wanted to get out of doing kid movies, Disney films, and wanted to get into doing other stuff. But the thing that was about Kurt Russell was it was the one time Disney focused on films that boys would enjoy.
Mhm.
Kurt Russell's movies, same thing with Jan Michael Vincent, because he played that jungle boy that comes to become an pro athlete here in the U.S. It's a very fun film. I can't remember the name of it, but they tried to make movies that boys would want to watch, and but then that ended, and they started sticking to cartoons, and it led to them buying Star Wars and Marvel because they wanted to get boys back in the seat. But look what happened there. They started making it for girls. And it failed. DEI, man, kills everything. I love that he bites Todd in this scene. And Anima caught something that it looked like the one guy, when he fell, got caught by his junk, but I don't know. I looked at it, I couldn't tell. But then she pointed out later that it looked like he was hanging by his foot, that he got tangled in the chain. But Todd hurts the other character by tearing his eye out.
Yeah, and then
scarring his
Jason
face.
Isaacs just says you're
He's angry
basically a
about it.
piece of shit. Yeah, yeah. I'm
And he
like,
yells at the replicant for it. But I said, it's like, you live in the world of Blade Runner. You can replace the fucking eye. And they do. He gets a new eye. I do like Jason Isaacs is such a prick in real life, but I love his. He buys into the DEI shit, and I can't stand him for that. But God, what a fucking great actor he is.
He is. I watch him every Independence Day. The first movie I watch is The Patriot, and he is an asshole in that movie.
Oh, he's really good at that.
Yeah.
He's also good at playing good guys. That's why when they made the Peter Pan updated film, he plays both Wendy's father and Hook. He plays both characters. Yeah, man. Jason Lee Scott's face is fucked up.
Yeah. Mr. Lee's face got messed up.
And I am a fan of Jason Scott Lee. I wish he had had a better career. Dracula 2000 kind of hurt his career.
Yeah.
Because I think he's a good damn actor.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he played Bruce Lee great in Dragon.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite movies ever. He did a great job playing Bruce Lee. He really did.
So let's say good morning to everybody who's in the chat today. We got Gap After Dark is here. I hope you're doing well, my friend. Beginning of the week. Let's get this week on the right tracks. Deleted's here. Stephen is here. Good morning, buddy. DJ Play Nice is here. What's up, man? Oh, Tim is here. Oh, Rod Thunderheart is here. Welcome. Good morning, Rod. I hope you're doing well. That's it so far? I don't see Penny yet.
Not yet, but she will be here. Now, if you may allow me to play Tim's video, I think this is the original. Here we go.
By what name are you known?
There are some who call me Tim.
Oh, Tim.
So, yeah, so there's, like I said, when he broke his ankle, they tried to work around it as much as possible. So he'd be laying down a lot or sitting down or just standing, not moving. Very limited movement. FKH 2005 is FKHC 2005 is Tim. We all know him as Tim. And because this is a David Webb Peoples movie, I will play this.
It's a hell of a thing, killing a man. You take away all he's got, and all he's ever gonna have.
Absolutely on my top 10 list of greatest Westerns ever written.
Oh, yeah.
So again, everything looks so fake here. And this is one of the complaints that a lot of people were having and the critics were having. Because it was all inside. It was all indoors. They had to build this set. And, and I don't hold it against Kurt. Because Kurt was right. He needed to get in shape for this film.
Yes. I think I would say that it was a very good trade-off. Because he needed to look the way he looks in this movie.
Now, one complaint I have is those pants. Those are clearly Navy pants. Those aren't any other military. Military doesn't wear pants like that. We wear cargo pants. Navy, especially when they're on ships, would wear those kinds of. They're open, like bell-bottom pants.
Uh-huh.
And so that threw me. But this is also where you see the spinner for the first time. And that marks and lets you know, because it's there. It's an actual prop in the scene, and you see it multiple times. In fact, it's right next to Todd when he's fighting Jason Scott Lee's character again later. That big fight takes place right there where the spinner is, and it's in several of the shots.
Is it in the same place the helicopter is? Gotta be. Yeah.
And by the way, all those crosses let you know that they've been there for a while, the humans.
Yeah.
That humans came to this planet, and then the planet was purchased and used as a dumping ground for this corporate military.
Yeah, they were aiming to an off-world colony in the Paradise Moon, no, the Trinity Moons, but they accidentally crash landed here.
That's what it was. And so they've been trapped there and trying to stay alive. And there's the spinner. That was the spinner they just showed.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll show you what it looks like here. Pause the video, would you? Just for a second. This is a beauty shop of it, behind the scenes.
Right. A still? Yeah.
And this is actually in that scene where he makes his way into the room. You can see the spinner as he's trying to escape that dust storm. Which, by the way, that would be considered a haboob and not just a sandstorm. Because sandstorms are smaller. Haboob is a mountain-sized fucking sandstorm. And I've been through them, and they're like, I grew up in Phoenix. When they would come through, you would see this giant fucking wall coming at you. It's crazy.
I can't imagine. Now, we get winds here, but not, it's wet here in Louisiana. So we're
now,
getting.
I would have point. Oh, I'm sorry.
I was just going to say we're getting the beginnings of Burrell here now. Rhonda's on 12-hour shifts. Prayers go out to those folks down south. Houston, there's about 2 million people out of power down in the Houston area right now. So,
yeah, Monkey Jeeves in the house.
Yes, it is, Monkey. We were just talking about that because David Webb Peoples, one of the co-writers of Blade Runner, began writing this while he was writing Blade Runner with Hampton Fancher. And he came up with this idea and really was aware of it. He thought it was a neat idea. And so Todd is the last elements of human slavery because they're owned by the military. And the whole thing, like I said, he's trained like a Spartan would be trained. The big difference is Spartans had lives. They had love. They had passion.
They had families. These babies were just taken and raised like robots.
Raised to be killers.
Yeah.
And you can see this because Todd is never exposed to humans outside of combat. That's why you see him shoot a woman in order to kill the soldier behind her.
Mm-hmm.
She's completely innocent, but he just doesn't see life that way.
No.
And but Martin said something yesterday too, that they were there to protect civilians, and so he does have that. He has that interest designed into him of protecting others. But
yeah, also back when you see the kids and they let dogs loose on a bar, he's the only one who tries to look away, and they force him to look back at it. He's the only kid who looks away.
No, that's
him.
another kid. That's another
a different kid.
At the opposite end of the.
Yeah, because I didn't catch that either. I didn't see any of the kids look away.
I thought
one of the kids.
I thought it might be the kid they shot later.
Oh, do you think it is the same kid?
I'm just wondering. That was what I thought. Maybe that was the case.
Because there is foreshadowing throughout this film, because his black friend, co-soldier that he served with, they show his face when they think he's dead.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see he's not happy.
Yeah,
and he's not showing much emotion, but you can tell he's bothered by his friend.
I think he's the one in the range scene where he doesn't pull the trigger and Kurt just lights up the civilian. In the range scene, I think that's him next to him when they're both shooting next to each other.
That's man, yeah, that is him. Holy shit, I forgot that.
Yeah,
that is Riley.
There's all these subtle things that that if you're just the average movie goer, you're not going to look for. So you miss so much of what's going on in this film. There's a lot happening in this movie, and one of the biggest things is this is a kind of a Western in its own way. And Webb loves Westerns, by the way. That's why he wrote Unforgiven. He loved the idea of this being like a Western, that he shows up in this town. It is kind of going to be like The Marshal, but that ended up getting changed to where it's more urgent. There's more urgency going on.
Mm-hmm.
That they're not there by their choice, that this isn't a town. These are people trying to stay alive. So it kind of changed the feel of it, but it really did kind of begin as a kind of space Western.
Yeah, I got vibes of a John Carpenter film, something that with low dialogue, short run time, but everything, every piece of it told part of the story, and so it does not ever slow down. The other thing I got out of it was a little Mad Max feel, especially the Thunderdome movie. That's what I was feeling with the sets.
Yeah,
what you're talking about, it being inside and stuff, really reminded me of Thunderdome. That Mad Max film, where he's the outsider trying to help out a bunch of people that he knows can't help themselves, right?
Yeah. By the way, just a little bit of trivia: the scene where they're in the training bay with all the shooting and racing and stuff. That was actually shot in San Diego Airport hangar, their main hangar. That was the biggest place they could find to shoot it.
And we have Penny at last, and this is why she did.
There you are, Penny.
Here earlier.
Again, YouTube doing its thing again.
Yeah, YouTube doesn't like us. I'm sorry, huh? Hope you're having a good Monday. Glad you're here. Because I brought it up. I said, "Where's Penny? Penny's not here." But hey, I'm also excited. Monkey's here. So, I love it when our friends show up.
with this little and beautiful comment.
So, Stallone, that was it. I just remembered. Stallone was the other actor. After Clint Eastwood let it go, Stallone saw this as a potential property to work on. And he was very interested in it, but then it got dropped by the studio. And that's when Keanu, when it went to a new system of producers, it ended up in front of Keanu. But the studio saw the budget and said, there's no way we're going to greenlight this film with Keanu. And that's when Kurt was brought up. And they're like, yes, we would definitely greenlight for Kurt Russell.
Now,
and that's how this movie ended up getting made.
If I may, I freaking love Sly, but I don't see him playing well characters, emotionless character. He's excellent playing emotion, but I don't see him playing emotionless.
Yeah, now Kurt Russell's character, the way he plays this is he doesn't know how to express emotion. He has been living in an environment for 40 years where he is they're stolen. This is a what you refer to as, because I tell people Stoicism is actually a philosophy. It is a philosophy of not showing great emotion when things happen. The Japanese are a great example of it. And so the Stoic cultures of the past. And so he's lived in a world of Stoicism. The only communication he and the others make are when things are necessary. There's no grab ass humor with these guys. It's not like your regular military. These are they live soldier life. That is it. They don't understand humor. You say a joke in front of them, they wouldn't fucking laugh because they wouldn't even understand the context of it.
They're weapons. Is what
they're just, they have turned human beings into walking weapons. And the only time they talk is when they have to give information or give an order.
That's it.
You know, and a lot of the communication do is not even verbal. You'll see them look at each other and they'll nod. They know exactly what to do. You go do what you're going to do. I'm going to do what I'm going to do.
They have been spending 40 years together all the time.
They don't need to talk.
Yeah.
So he doesn't even know how to talk to these people.
Yeah.
When he shows up there. And he doesn't know what to do. He doesn't know how to talk to them. And he calls even the women, sir.
Yeah, because all he knows is the military.
And when he's questioned by one of the villagers later on in the movie, questions his fortitude, I would say, or his
the Irish actor, yeah.
Yeah, he says, "Now, how did you get lost? You know, and you must not be very good at what you do." And he stands straight up like, "What?"
No, it's even worse. The thing is that the guy tells him, he asks him, "Are you a deserter?"
Yeah, are you a deserter? And he just pops right up like, "What?"
Yeah, but here's the thing.
Actually calling me that, right?
Yeah, but that's how we perceive it. He doesn't perceive. He's not going to defend his honor.
Yeah,
and that I like that in that movie that nobody knew, neither of both parties know what is happening with the other party, and there's a completely misunderstanding all the time because he springs up and when you're thinking, oh man, you're gonna get whooped, but no. He just explained the situation. He's giving a report. I've been replaced. That's it.
Yeah. It's just that he stands up and he's so ice cold that's how it's perceived as a threat. He is. There's a story here. There's a story about PTSD, and I consider this probably one of the better films to describe PTSD. And this is in the fucking 90s.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought Peoples did a really good job of explaining PTSD. And than any other film. He's not broken, but but here's the thing. He would have never experienced PTSD if he hadn't met these people.
Right.
And it's because he comes in contact with them and he begins to interact with normal human beings that he begins to have doubt and feeling. He has emotions. And that's how it surfaces. His first emotions that he expresses in this film is when he grabs that fucking guy by the throat. Michael Chiklis, by the way.
Yes, that's Michael Chiklis. Yes. I thought that was great.
Another great actor in this film is Sean Pertwee. And his dad, of course, is the third Doctor in Doctor Who, the original series. And Sean Pertwee's been in movies like, he was in that stupid Alien 3 movie.
Oh, God.
Alien to the Third Power.
Yikes. Well, I got to tell you.
Alien Cubed.
He did a great job showing the effects of PTSD. He also showed I thought, and maybe I'm the only one that thinks this, maybe I'm skewed, but the feelings that many military veterans feel when they come back from a war, like they've been discarded, you know, and I thought they showed that really well. You know what I mean? And maybe that might be more the Vietnam era soldier, maybe, but I know a lot of them struggle to make it in the real world when they get back sometimes, you know. The fact that maybe they don't have a mission anymore, that kind of thing. I definitely caught some overtones of that in here too.
I've actually read about that, Monkey. Hold on, I was trying to show this one. Spartans were made to do homo stuff, and it's true. To rely on one another and be close. That there was a reference to the fact that part of the training was to not have love towards women, but towards each other. And it was almost like a relationship love. And so I've read that too. And that pisses me off that Penny didn't get a notification again. There's Sean Pertwee right there. Young Sean Pertwee. This was after he did his stint with Alien in Alien 3. One of the worst.
Cubed?
I could not stand Alien 3 or 4. I just thought they were terrible. Oddly, surprisingly, I liked Alien versus Predator, the first film.
Yes, that one was good. The second one was crap. Hey, Scribe's in the house.
Hey, Scribe, how you doing, buddy? I went to see it a couple times myself, and that's what nerds do, by the way. I like this scene. This is while he had his broken ankle, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
All these scenes were done when his ankle was first broken, and she's feeding him, and he's never had anybody do that before. But I want to point out again that he's never had an emotional connection to another human being before. The closest that is a bond with his fellow soldiers, because they are bonded to one another. And that's obvious. You see that with the black dude. When he sees Kurt dead, he is bothered. He's trying not to show it, but he is clearly bothered by it.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Cam, good morning.
Yeah, Michael Chiklis's claim to fame before this movie was playing John Belushi in the movie about his life. He was the guy that played John Belushi.
He also, 3 years after this movie, he would be in another film produced by Mel Gibson about the Three Stooges, and he played Curly.
Really?
It was a biopic.
Wow.
And it's very good, by the way. Chiklis played him in the scene where he had the stroke, and they had to feed him. Oh, God, it was heartbreaking to watch that scene. They're feeding him like they're feeding Kurt Russell here. But I do like this. In Anima, you asked a good question, and apparently those tattoos they have, they're done a certain way to where they can actually update and change those tattoos on the face. I don't know how they're doing.
Well, the question I had was, what if he's demoted? How do you take off one of the bars?
Well, clearly they can remove stuff and update it. So those tattoos are updatable. So I'm not sure exactly how they're done.
When I saw that, I said, "Well, they don't need dog tags then." There you go.
Well, exactly. Unless the head gets lost, then what?
Right.
But by the way, Peoples was referring to the tattoos you see on Roy Batty in Blade Runner, and that the face tattoos were a reference to Batty's tattoos up here on his chest. So Chiklis used to have a full head of hair. Yeah, in fact, you can see the fuzz on top in this. He played a guy 20 years older than himself when he played the commish. He was barely 30 when he played that part. I remember his first time on the Tonight Show, Johnny Carson. And he said, "Yeah, I'm only like 32 years old, and I'm playing a guy like in his late 40s."
I liked him as Ben Grimm.
Well, there you go. Monkey said it. Nanite ink. It is ink that can actually be pulled out of the skin and altered. because it's made out of micro robot type things, nanites. And that way you can manipulate it under the skin. I can't believe how young Pertwee is in this. Like, I'm just so used to him. And
How about Homegirl from Gladiator and isn't that Wonder Woman's mama? Yeah.
Yeah, that's Connie Nielsen.
Yeah.
And she was in The Devil's Advocate.
Yep. Yep.
She was.
Yo,
That's all I can say.
she
That.
was.
Yeah, she was.
Yeah, she was. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I said, there are some women that when you see them on screen, all of a sudden, oh, damn, goes through your head. You know, James Brown song. Anima hated this dinner scene because she said it looked like puke. There's the Irish actor. I forget his name.
It does look like puke. And I didn't hate just that scene. I didn't like the whole movie. There you go.
Paul Dillon.
How could you?
I broke Martine again.
How could you?
Yeah, I told her she didn't have to come if she didn't want to, because if she didn't enjoy the film, it's okay. I don't understand how you could hate this movie, but
I don't hate it. I just didn't like it.
You're the first person I have never seen anybody not liking this movie. Even
that's
my
why
daughters, they love her.
I didn't talk about the movie even if I didn't like it. I'm not going to shit on it. I just didn't have a good time watching it.
I love how he eats in this scene.
Yes.
He eats like a soldier. And it's just, this is really good stuff here. And he doesn't know how to interact with these people. But like this guy's a fucking twat, you know.
He is.
But however, when
he's got to put Anima in the green room, according to Gap After Dark.
The twat guy is the only one. Well, no, it's not the only one, but it's the first one that ever offers help to him.
Mm-hmm.
And in the middle of the fight is when he gets to him and says, "Do you need help?" And he looks like, "No."
He just looks at him like, he turns and he just looks dead at him. And he goes, "No."
The fuck?
And then he goes about his business. I know a lot about artificial intelligence robotics because I was researching to make a battle suit for the Civil War. I predicted happening. I just didn't factor social media and people being lazy.
So this will be Monkey Man or the Iron Monkey suit.
Right. I got to stand up for a minute.
Well, this is also because now look, I know that Harlan Ellison, ended up getting a credit with Terminator, but there was early discussion that he should get a credit for this because the name Soldier comes from one of his stories, and they said the connection to it, the similarities in it, but he got nothing. I guess that Ellison himself said, no, there's enough difference between this and his story that it wasn't necessary, but not true with Terminator. They absolutely were inspired by, and they adapted it as an Outer Limits episode too. Soldier. It was a two-parter where a soldier travels through time during a battle, gets thrown into the past, and he's just a killing machine. I do like a lot of the visual effects in this, especially like the mapping and shit. That was good stuff for the 90s. My complaint about it is it looks so canned. But again, that happened because of the fact that they lost the shooting location, and last minute with what was left of the budget, they had to build these sets.
And I don't know if this is true or not, but Paul Anderson's direction makes it look like he had a background in music videos, because I got that feel in a lot of the stuff.
Yeah.
You know,
because I'm not that big a fan of Paul. He actually did another film before this one that I like. But I'm just not a fan of his movies. I just don't really like a lot of what he's done.
Yeah.
I liked the first Resident Evil.
Mm-hmm.
But past that, I just, he's so annoying to me.
Yeah, it's just a showcase for his wife from then on, really.
Yeah. I mean, even his fucking Monster Hunter movie looked like the trailer looked good. Then I saw the movie. I'm like, this is
I have
awful.
still not
We did a
watched
lot.
that.
We did a live show. I was with, I think it was Fat Steven Seagal and some other people, and I was just ripping that movie apart while we're like making fun of how they handled their weapons.
Yeah.
Weapons don't work that way. All kinds of Event Horizon. That was the other film he did, and I'm not a fan of Event Horizon because I thought it just felt like Hellraiser in space. Was
A
all that
lot
felt.
of people are though. I've heard really good.
I
things.
love that movie,
A
man.
lot of people love that movie,
There's a lot of
and
people that like it. Yeah.
so he went off
I've
of
never
making
seen
that
it. So I
film
would-
to this film. He, because he did that one the year before he made
Mhm.
this one, but then he would go and make Alien versus Predator, which I thought was good too. I enjoyed the Death Race movie, but I didn't think it was very good.
The Statham movie.
Yeah, Pandorum was. I didn't like it.
I like
Um,
Pandorum. It's not a
I had
great
problems.
movie ever, but it's enjoyable. Well, I find it enjoyable.
Yeah, there's
Um,
several of his films. I'm looking at DOA. I did enjoy that film, but
Oh my
it's not a
God.
great film.
That is what
He
the
made
one
that.
with
He made DOA. Oh my God.
Girl martial art film, and it's fun.
Well, it's
I
based on a
enjoyed
video
it.
game, and it's
Yeah.
nothing but hot chicks.
Well, that's
fighting.
what he's done. Is he's made a career. He's like the American version or English version of Uwe Boll.
movie.
Yes, exactly. Yes, but he gets
Difference
bigger
is
budgets than
his-
Yui does.
Oh, C-beams. C-beams. I believe that this was built as a nod to Blade Runner as well,
Yeah, with that name.
because a lot of people thought when he says C-beams, they're thinking like laser beams. I said no. C-beams are a reference to the skeleton of a ship.
Mhm.
And I saw C-beams glitter in the dark near the Tannhauser Gate. And he's showing you what C-beams look like. And I love that they put that in there. The skeleton of a ship.
BRB.
I did find it silly when you see the aircraft carrier there. As cool as that looked, why the fuck would you fly the entire ship whole?
Mm.
That seems so ridiculous. It is possible to run into all sorts of crap when you go into space. Things could use your own thoughts against you. Yeah, we have it's all unknown. There's Chickless again. So anyway, they see the ship and they think, oh, it will be rescued. And they're dumpsters. They're dump trucks. Which reminds me of another show called Quark.
Oh my God.
Where the story about a crew of a garbage scow out in space. It's fun.
Yes.
That was a funny show. I thought it should have gotten more. It got what a season and a half, I think. 2
Something
seasons.
like that.
And
I'm
my God, they pushed the envelope of comedy in that. Buck Henry was the creator of that. He's the creator of Get Smart.
I believe I still have that show.
I have it. I love that show. The copies I have are SD. They're not great copies, but also Pertwee looks like he's losing hair. Another film Pertwee's in that's really good is Dog Soldier, which I'd like to do for one of our weekends or Wednesdays.
Cool.
We could do
Very
it on
cool.
Military Monday because they are soldiers. I just thought about that. That's true. I can do that. I thought Kurt did a tremendous job of not showing emotion and then subtly showing emotion. Because he doesn't know how to deal He's like a child. He doesn't know how to deal with the feelings he's having towards her.
Okay. Here comes one of the, to me, the best piece of dialogue in this movie. Is when he talk about the only feeling that he is capable of recognizing, and it's fear. When she asks him how is it like to be a soldier like him, and he says fear and discipline. That's the only thing he knows.
Yeah, what bothered me is that sometimes he comes across as dumb because there's no expression whatsoever.
He's a child. I just said that. He is like a fucking teen, a young child, 11 to 13. Really. Not, mentally, but emotionally, because he's never gotten a chance to exercise those muscles ever. And which I think is a mistake. If you were to do what they're doing, it's because they're human. They need to have that.
It's dangerous to deny them that. Yeah.
Yeah, they can snap.
Well, and that's why when she reaches to hug him, he actually shudders. You see him physically tense up. He's like, he doesn't know what's going on. Why am I getting a boner? He does, Joe. He does. And it's because the kid saves the parents from one of the vipers that they're like, we made a mistake. We got to bring him back. But that is the first time you really see emotion with him, is when they reject him and he's sitting alone in that pipe. And I don't know how he did that, crying without expression, but he did. He fucking brings that tear out and it comes rolling down his face. I was like, that's Kurt Russell showing how good a fucking actor he can be. Crying without expression. There's Chickless with Santa.
Strictly speaking, the kid teaches himself, though, because all he does is throw him a boot, and the kid figures out to use the boot to kill a snake.
No. He shows him the movement.
He stomp,
Really?
stomp.
Yep.
And then points to make him do it. And then the mom walks in. Yeah, exactly, Joe. It's like it's complicated, and this is what leads to his, the complications of feelings, is what leads to his first bout with PTSD, and he lashes out at Michael Chiklis and picks him up and throws him on top of that table with that wheel coming at him, and he's lost in the fucking moment of that battle. It's a weapon. Now, in reality, if you have warriors like that, you would reward them with sex, is one of the ways of doing it. So they would at least understand that. I mean, you remember in Conan the Barbarian with Schwarzenegger, if he won, they would buy him the most beautiful women. Anybody? Nobody? Okay.
Yes, the most beautiful women who were able to be reproduced because they were making little Conans out of him.
That's why they were doing it. Yeah. His workout here, man, that's some intense punching going on with this thing. But that's him working out the pain too, because these
Hello,
members,
Courtney.
and that's
Hey,
what
Courtney.
leads. Hey, Court. So this leads to a great moment where he has his first outburst from PTSD, is while he's working out, because when he's working out, he's going through all this shit. Everything's coming to the surface for the first time with him. Memories of these battles. No, you give it to him afterward, after combat, to help him wind down. Oh, see you later, Court. I can't stick around. Okay. Thanks for dropping by.
Bye, Courtney.
Yeah, that's why I always find it funny, when they show soldiers married to strippers. And here they make a huge mistake. They perceive him as a threat rather than embracing him and trying to help him through it.
Yeah. Oh man, in that scene when he saves Michael Chiklis' life, and then he's manipulating the gun, and everybody's scared, and Pertwee asking for the gun, and he present him with the gun instantly without hesitation. That's another depiction of how anybody is aware of what is happening. They are afraid of him, that he may attack them, but he sees them as their officers.
Which is why he
He's-
calls them all sir.
Yeah, he in his mind he's there to protect them and obey them.
Now, I'm going to point something out to you about the actual U.S. military, especially the Army. When we're in training, we are told that we're amphibian shit, that we're worthless, that every single human being is above us. And that stays in the training even later, that if your senior NCOs catch you speaking in any way that's not appropriate to a civilian, they will smoke you for it. You are to refer to all civilians as ma'am or sir, even kids, because they outrank you as a civilian, because that's who you're defending. And that's something I'm so grateful for, because it teaches respect for citizens and for other people. And the military does adhere to that.
Sure enough does. I back that up 100%.
Yeah, you were taught the same thing, I'm assuming.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Sorry, guys. I had to go there for a second, but I've been monitoring. Yeah, absolutely. We're supposed to be, our main job is to protect civilians in every situation, especially in warfare.
Yep.
No doubt.
That's why I hate, like, when movies, TV shows, and comics depict soldiers as mindless automatons following orders. It's like, no, we are very much aware of what's going around, and we know what we're willing to do and what we're not willing to do.
And one thing that the U.S. military is taught, I don't know how many other militaries around the world, but we're taught the person's job above us so that if they get taken out, we can take up that mantle and keep going. You know what I mean? We learn each other's jobs. So I don't know how many militaries do that because, some of them, and throughout history, they've targeted officers first because they know they'll scatter when they don't have the leadership. But the U.S. military won't do that. Field commissions happen all the time in the U.S. military. No doubt.
So now we get flashbacks to when he's a kid, when he's talking to her, the mayor or whatever the fuck she is of this group, the leader. A soldier shows no mercy. This is the most talking he does in the whole movie. A soldier needs no friend or family. Your troops are your family.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And that's a mistake in their training. I think, anyway.
And this is what gets him. This is what gets him kicked out.
Yep.
Because he's showing the kid, and they feel like they put the boy in danger. That he put the boy in danger. And but then they realize they're fuck up later.
Right.
Because the kid
Zach's
says
in the house.
"What's up, Gare Bear? Yeah, man. What's up, Zach? Ow. You can give it a
Great, Zach. Good to see you.
Hello me.
Hey, fuck you, Kyle.
Why do you want to treat Zach like that, guys? That guys.
Are you kidding me? got a video for him. This kid is, I don't know if I ever saw him in anything else, but he does a good job in this. He's a mute. So he has something in common with Kurt's character that he just doesn't talk. And I think it's by choice because he had gotten hurt and he hasn't spoken since.
Yeah,
Snake.
He was beaten by one of the vipers and almost died.
Yep.
Bit. Oh my god. Sorry.
That probably is another reason why they were so upset with him.
It is.
You know.
And he's trying to show the kid how to kill one of those things, and they think he put him in danger. And it's like, no, the viper was already here. But
he's giving him a life skill, man. Come on. What the heck? What's wrong with you people?
They're just scared.
Helicopter parents. Helicopter parents.
Well, he's just scared.
Wouldn't you be on a planet like that? Jesus.
This would be, this is a great example of society and veterans, returning home from deployment, because we are changed. Veterans are changed, and the more that they're exposed to, the more they're changed, and it's hard for them to reintegrate, because in the military we have a term called the new norm, the new normal. When you go downrange, that's the new normal, and then when you get brought back from that, that's the other new normal, the new normal. And it keeps happening. And we get these guys that come back from deployment. They don't know how to interact. That's why we have so many self-deletions from guys, because they don't know how to get back. And that's part of, people go, well, the military needs to. No, you don't. The military is good at training people to kill people. They're not good at fixing it afterward, undoing it. That is the responsibility of society itself. And that's the thing that they reject here, but then they realize their mistake. Thank God they showed that within the story. I love that David Webb Peoples put this in there, because this is a great statement about society and the military. And my first exposure was when I was sitting down in an office at a table, and people were joking and telling stories of some fucked up stuff that they've seen, and I told something, and when I was done, everybody's just sort of staring at me, and I'm like, oh, you're all freaked out now. Great. That was too much for you. And everybody looked at me like I was the guy that was going to break one day and kill everyone. I'm like, I'm never going to do that. It's not in my nature. Why would you think that of me?
Now, if anybody came after you, yeah, I'd take that dude.
No, it's different, but I would never, I'm never going to be that person you read about in the paper that snapped one day and killed everyone. There are some people that aren't wired that way. I'm not wired that way. I'm not wound up like a fucking coil, ready to snap. Some people are.
Some people, they asked me why I didn't become a civilian cop whenever I got out of the military police corps. And I was like, well, I saw enough on some tame bases to know I didn't want to do the civilian part of this job. That's enough for me. Thanks. I'm not wired that way. I can't do that.
I actually tested to become a police officer, and I got caught up in the what do they call that, affirmative action thing. I had the highest score of the group that I tested with, but because I was the last one to sign up, I got bumped.
Yeah.
In favor of making sure that they hired people of color.
Right.
I don't know if they're what race they were, but they were not me. And I'm like going, that's the problem with affirmative action. You just took the guy with the highest score of the entire group and kicked him to the curb.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I didn't
which
do
is
it. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, it's just it led to that thing that just happened about what it was a week or two ago, where the guy says, if you are on a plane, do you want someone who's a DEI hire, or do you want the best fucking pilot on your fucking plane?
I want the best fucking pilot on the plane.
Hired because of their gender or their race.
Right.
You know, and it's like that's the person's going to be taking you.
Yeah. I didn't do it because my 3 years experience as a cop taught me that you have to be able to turn on the dick. You have to, not everybody's going to agree with what you're doing, and you're going to have to be able to turn on the asshole. And I'm just not that kind of guy. I can't do it. So.
Dirty card story.
Yep.
If you didn't read that, Joe, here it is.
Oh, okay. What's that? Oh yeah. Right. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like no, I'm just one of those people that stays calm in situations. Now, this is his. He's now been booted. He's going out and he's got to find a place to survive. And in this pipe, he discovers he wants something. There he is doing it. No expression. And he's crying. I'm like, God, man, this is some good acting right here.
Yeah. He's feeling loss, I think, and he just doesn't know how to process it. Yeah. As in, he's lost something important to him.
I thought the visual effects were. It should have been better in the 90s. It looks more like something like Enemy Mine, which you got in the 80s.
Yeah.
So the effects look like they were 10 years older than what the movie is. Here's the snake scene. Oh, we made a mistake. Our little boy grabbed that snake and killed it.
Now, this may be just me, but I think helicopter parenting is bad in every situation, but mostly here. I mean, they know they have that problem with the snakes. It's enough problem that they refer to it at least twice. Everybody should know how to deal with that. Even the kids, especially the kids. Everybody should be able to recognize and react accordingly to the
Helicopter
dangerous
parents by
situation.
nature don't exist in this kind of environment. This kind of environment, you would not be raising your kids that way. I know why they're doing it, but this might be a bleed over from it being a Western type situation where it's a town. This is not like that. This is hard living, and absolutely they would want him to be able to defend himself. So it's kind of weird when you look at it in the script for it to be that way. But now that the kid killed the snake, we were wrong, mate. Come on back. We're sorry. Oh, by the way, that note I left you calling you a twat, didn't mean it. It's a joke, mate.
You can still watch my wife's boobs.
And you know, and really, when you stop and think about it, Martin, you just said something that's so important to this story is she belongs with Kurt Russell, not Sean Pertwee, in the movie. And even the screenwriter goes, I have to kill the husband.
Gotta kill him.
If
we're not going to kill him with the snake, then we got to blow his leg off.
She needs to be with the Spartan warrior.
Right?
Yeah, some kind of London party.
Yeah, because they got all excited about it right here, and he's like, no, this is not good. And he warns him.
Yeah, because he's acting like the typical shipwreck victim, and he's trying to signal him and stuff. He's like, oh, he recognizes right away that's a military transport. He knows those guys are looking to screw something up, so because he knows their tactics and everything.
These vehicles, to my knowledge, are still the largest prop vehicle ever made in a film.
Really?
Yeah, they're basically 2 stories tall, full functioning. It was built over an actual chassis of another vehicle. I can't remember what it is. They used small people, actors, to be on and around the vehicle. to make it look larger, but it's still pretty fucking big.
Mhm.
And so they're like little people mounting the guns and shit on it. And I still think that Jason Scott Lee did a good job in this film, and I hate what happened to his career. He's a good actor.
Yeah, I can't name but 2 movies I've seen him in. This and Dragon. That's it.
Oh, he was in The Jungle Book too. I think he did it just before this.
I didn't see it.
He was in Dragon, The Jungle Book. Yeah, 94. He did that one, and he was really good in it as Mowgli.
Mowgli.
Yeah, because he's more like a teenager, playing it like a teenager than a child. Then after this one, he did Dracula and Dracula 2 Ascension, and he's in the third one too, Legacy. He's also was in the live action Mulan back in 2020.
Another one I didn't watch.
That wasn't
Man,
a.
don't.
He did
Don't.
Time Cop 2.
They made a sequel.
Oh,
to Time
here's
Cop?
another one.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, because he did this movie, and I was in the Army, and I went to a mall, and at the mall they had a special showing of this movie that he was in, where Papa Nui, and it's about the tribe that disappeared with the giant heads that were built on their island.
Mhm.
And he played one of the tribal people in the film. It was really good. I gave it a good ranking because that's what it was. We were a special group getting to see an early cut of the film, Papa Nui.
Cool. I want to know how he got away from their. What was that? I wonder how they were detecting him. Was it heat or something? Because he definitely got off their radar somehow. I was kind of wondering about that. How he got off their radar. I don't know if it was line of sight.
Jason Scott Lee was in one of the Back to the Future movies? No shit. I know he's in Mallrats. I remember him in that. Let me look it up real quick. Jason Scott Lee.
Back to the Future. I'm trying to think.
He's in the 89 film. Holy shit, that's him. He was one of Biff's thugs.
No
Oh,
kidding. What, in the second one when he was running the town and everything?
Yeah, part 2.
in his
Yes.
in his casino and hotel?
No, it's when he's out on the street, the skating shit and stuff, and he's got the helmet on. See if I can save this image. Web. Fuck you. That one works. That one I can share PNGs. Here he is.
Okay. The cyber version of him in the future, huh? Yeah.
There he
Okay.
is.
Yep. The cyber Biff from the town scene, with the, what is it? I always see the meme of Jaws 3D coming to swallow him in the middle of the street, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The holographic one. This one,
Yeah.
you knew how this was going to end. You knew how this was going to end. They
of
were going to
course.
fucking waste her ass. They're peaceful. We mean no harm. Ah!
What for that, chick?
Wendy,
Sorry.
I can fly.
Thanks for playing. Too much.
Yeah, they clearly haven't seen Independence Day.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah, I got to tell you, the staff on this ship are just fucking idiots.
Yeah. Yeah, I love
They're
Nick Nolte. He's
some of
like,
the most.
yeah, you can tell they're not
Gary
veterans.
Busey.
Man. They're called,
Yeah,
yeah,
Gary.
Gary Busey. Did I say Nick Nolte? I'm sorry. Gary Busey says, yeah, you can tell they're not veterans. They would have called backup and been safe about it. You guys are sending 3 dudes in there against 50 people. Yeah.
And she gets fucking shitty here with him and says only soldiers get weapons.
Yeah, just come on, man.
That's why I'm glad she dies.
Yeah,
in the end.
For sure.
I feel bad that Gary Busey's character dies because he actually cared about his soldiers.
Yeah, he did. But you know how it is. If you're the moral compass, guess what?
You
You're
gotta
not
die.
long. Yeah, gotta go.
Gotta kill him. Hollywood hates moral compasses.
That's it. Comes in from above. Death from above.
Now, I'm going to say something else about him a lot of people don't know is that he did serve. He served stateside, but he served in the military during the Vietnam War. He was in the same unit as Sam Elliott and Tom Selleck.
Wow. Good company.
So, the Mustache Trio.
That's it, the Mustache Trio. That's a good name for him.
Especially when he was in Tombstone, he definitely had a hell of a mustache.
Oh,
in that.
yes.
Big time mustache. He almost had the Snidely whiplash going on.
You look at the way he looked in fucking Hateful Eight. My God, he looked like a while bygone.
Mm-hmm.
The action. Oh, here, this is the Batman scene.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you could easily play the Batman theme in that moment. Comes smashing through the glass to save the day.
Mm-hmm.
I love it when he takes over one of the crawlers.
Yeah.
Mm.
I mean, he keeps
Oh.
ordering him to go to at 9 o'clock.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
You're
Yes, sir.
Affirmative. He also says affirmative.
Yep. Affirmative.
Hey, you're gonna hit me.
You're on the collision
Affirmative.
course. Affirmative.
Boom.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that one when he gets dumped down into the pit with the snakes.
Yeah.
Like, the
That
thing
guy's
that bugged
nuts.
me is these are all replicants, and they got him screaming, and I'm like,
Yeah.
they shouldn't have had him do that. They should have had him grunting, screaming.
Right.
Stupid.
Agreed.
The other thing, and it's the thing that is always in the back of my mind, Todd he shouldn't be physically able to stand toe to toe with a replicant. I mean, the Nexus 6 were superhumanly strong.
And this is the 9. He's an according to David Webb Peoples, he is a Nexus 9.
So 3 generations above a 6, is that what I'm hearing?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
He should be even stronger.
But I will say this: many times you'll see numbers jumps where it's like, well, where's Nexus 7 and 8? Well, they never got released. We were continuing to work
No,
on
7,
them.
yes. 7 are in 2049. Ryan Gosling is a Nexus 7.
I don't know what movie you're talking about. What is this?
Blade Runner 2049? Yeah.
Never heard of it.
Oh, okay. So you treat that one like
I
Josh
don't. I'm
Wolfman
just
does,
fucking around. I'm just fucking around.
like
I do
Josh
have a
Wolfman-
problem with the movie. I will tell you, I have a problem with the movie because a film should visually feel connected. If it is a sequel, it should visually feel connected. And that movie does not feel visually connected.
Oh, yeah.
Because he wanted to make his movie and have it look the way he wanted it to look. And by doing that, it alienated a lot of fans.
Well, I was wrong Ryan Gosling is a Nexus 8. Apparently, Nexus 7, Rachel was the prototype for a Nexus 7.
Okay. Well, yeah. I just thought it was funny, Gary, because you're treating that movie like Das Wolf's
DJ.
the
Like a
98
redhead
Godzilla.
stepchild.
Yeah, the 98 Godzilla. He's like, that movie doesn't exist. I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, he
See you later,
does.
DJ. See you later, DJ.
We have Shanatsky.
See you next time, my friend. Shanatsky's here. Vangelis was still alive, and he didn't use him. I know. I was always bothered by that, but that might have been him. He may not have wanted to work on it because he didn't.
Maybe.
He died not long after. But I do think that asshole, because I can't stand him, the composer that
Hans
worked on
Zimmer.
24, did actually a really good job of emulating and bringing out the Vangelis in him.
Mhm.
It's the one time his droning music didn't bother me. 'Cause his music just drones on and on and on.
Who is this?
Hans Zimmer.
Oh, Zimmer. You don't like Zimmer? Wow. Okay.
Yeah, listen to this fucking music. Remember, there is no
I think-
theme in Man of Steel. It works with Batman because that's the mood. But Superman, you need a theme. You need a solid theme for someone
Well-
like that.
Okay, hear me out on this.
No.
Okay, he made that soundtrack, but the director should
I'm
have
not listening.
told him. The director should have told him. What I'm saying is that the director should have told him, make me a fucking theme.
I don't know. I don't mind Zimmer's music. I really don't.
No, I love it. I
know
really
a lot of
love
people enjoy it. I can't stand it because it drones. And I don't think he could make a theme anymore to save his fucking life. John
Well,
Williams
the Batman
is the
theme was
master
good.
of making themes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Thought his
See,
Dark
I
Knight
hate to
theme
say
was
it
good.
because I'm not a fan of Danny Elfman either. Danny Elfman does a better job making themes than
Yeah, I was fixing to say he can definitely make a theme, no doubt.
he does those stupid marches though.
He
Yeah.
does. He does. Yeah.
Bumping,
Oompa
bumping,
Loompa.
bumping, bumping,
Oompa, oompa,
bumping, bumping.
Oompa, oompa, oompa,
Definitely
oompa,
get the
oompa,
picture of
oompa,
Oompa
oompa.
Loompas going everywhere. Yep.
Yeah, just fucking it's a tuba going. Oompa, oompa, oompa.
It's a carousel. He makes carousel music.
But it fits a lot of what Burton did, man. I mean, that was a good mesh right there.
Yeah, that is true. But at some point, early in his career, he made some great music.
Hey, I was a big fan of his band. I'll tell you that. I loved them.
Oh yeah,
They were awesome.
fuck yeah, oingo boingo. Most people only know him for the movie soundtracks that they were on, like Dead Man's Party and shit.
Yeah. If you want to see him in a movie, just go watch Back to School.
Yeah,
They're
Back to
playing
School
in
when
a
he
party
does.
in the dorm.
It's a
Yeah,
Dead Man's Party,
yeah.
and he's fucking. The band is in the movie.
Did the theme for Weird Science. Yeah.
Weird Science.
Woo-hoo.
I liked it because once again, this is on a clothes set,
Mhm.
so you see a lot of visual. They had to find interesting ways to make it look like they're moving over territory. But if you pay attention, you can tell that all of it's within 100 yards. Now that's an old DC-3 cockpit right there.
They got a Huey somewhere in here too.
Yep.
Matter of fact, doesn't he kill him with the rotor from
Well,
the Huey?
not.
Well, that's it.
No, he
He
doesn't.
doesn't kill him, but he wounds him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
He
That's
kills
what
him when he
gave
breaks
him-
his neck.
Right.
But
right.
now the music for this, by the way, was Joel McNeely, and I thought it was a weird soundtrack for this film because, especially during the combat scene, it's like he is copying what's his name? Did Star Trek Jerry Goldsmith,
Mhm.
because he does the
Yeah.
up and down of the trumpet. which is something Jerry Goldsmith made famous, from Aliens to Star Trek, with the battle scenes with Khan in particular, and with the Klingon theme. You know, it's like, so it's like he was emulating or doing an impression of Jerry Goldsmith.
Well, maybe he was inspired by the final blow.
Maybe.
Before he
McNeely's a good composer. He's done some interesting films. In fact, let me pull up some films he's worked on. Hold on.
I was going to say the final blow he gives him before he puts him in the water, before he breaks his neck, is the classic Kirk double axe handle, my friend.
Oh, yeah, he does the. So he did the soundtrack on the Orville. Let's see.
Which is good. That's good.
Yep, it's a very good show. I love the music on that. He worked a lot for Disney, so I'm not going to bother mentioning the stuff that he did for them. Let's see. He did the music for Ghosts of the Abyss. And some other good stuff. He was the composer for Adventures of Young Indiana Jones series.
Really? Wow.
Remember that movie Virus? Yeah, he did the soundtrack for that. Let's see. He did Soldier, The Avengers with you remember that one? Really terrible movie.
Sean Connery, Thurman and Ray Fiennes, right? Yeah.
Ray Fiennes and Sean Connery is the villain. And I had Anima listen to a couple of scenes. I said, I saw that in the theater, and it drove me crazy because you could hear the smacking of his fucking dentures when he's talking. You can hear
man, that was so bad.
The sound of his air going around his teeth, and it's weird sounding.
Yeah.
And I can't believe he didn't get better dentures. He had the money for it.
There's
I know.
Huey. There's the Huey.
That's not professional.
Buffalo Soldiers,
There
which
you
was
go.
a good movie about the black soldiers that served during the Civil War as well as the Indian Plain Wars. He did Vegas Vacation. He did soundtrack for that. He did Star Wars Shadows of the Empire back in, what is it, 96? I bought that soundtrack. It was really good. He did the soundtrack for one of my favorite George Lucas films. It's not Star Wars or Indiana Jones, the Radioland Murders. I love that fucking movie.
There you go.
He did the Squanto, which was a good film. He did the movie soundtrack for Terminal Velocity with what's his name from Blade.
Yeah.
He did the American release of Super Cop, Jackie Chan's movie.
Okay.
And I'm trying to see the biggest first thing he ever did. I'm scrolling all the way to the beginning. Crap movies. He was the composer for Splash 2, the sequel.
What? Did they make a sequel to Splash?
It was a TV movie.
Yeah.
It's terrible. It was terrible.
Gary,
I watched
guys,
it for
I'm
free,
sorry, but,
and I still wanted my money back.
Foxy's on lunch, so I got to get going. The bar is sitting in the middle of where she eats, so you guys.
All right,
good.
Joe.
I will
I'll
see
see you later,
next time.
brother.
Yep, be good.
See ya.
Bye.
So we've already shown the scene because I missed it because I was talking trivia, where Pertwee's character, he tries to save him and he dies. His last words were, "Take my wife."
Make her happy. The weird thing is, he says, you can't save me, I've lost too much blood. You don't see that much blood, really. You see that the leg has been blown off, but...
Yeah, oddly, this film is not very gory. And
No.
it could have
I
been.
remember.
Well, I
Most
mean,
probably he died of shock. More
when he digs the other guy's eye out, that was pretty nasty. But other than that, yeah, not very gory.
Oh, I like that Rambo-ish scene in which he's in the shadows, in the sea, in between the sea beams, and there's an explosion, and then you can see him. He moves a little and stab the other guy in the eye with a knife, and that's it.
Yikes.
Yeah, Clint Eastwood. This is how Clint Eastwood met him, was because of this script. And he would later work with David Webb Peoples in making Unforgiven. But when he read the original script for this, he loved it. He's like, this is a Western in space. I want this.
We have
And
a
Clint Eastwood,
suggestion.
I think he could have still played him in the 80s as an aging soldier, because he just finished making
Why not?
the movie. He had just finished making the movie where he played Gunny Highway in Heartbreak Ridge. And this would have been the film he did after it. So he was physically in shape for it.
Did you see Steven's suggestion for Monday? Buffalo Soldiers? Steven suggested Buffalo Soldiers.
If I can get a copy of it, I wouldn't mind doing it. Yeah, he just beats the fuck out of Kurt Russell's character. So Kurt Russell, Todd has to outwit him. And that's what the helicopter is all about. So he looks down at that little sickle and gets him to move into the right position, because that's the position he needs him in to hit him with that blade from the helicopter. And wounds him enough to where he can actually now fight him. And I like the breaking his arm moment. That was fucking cool. Bending his arm backwards.
Yeah.
Make a list of that one, Anima, so we can check it, see if I can find that movie.
I have a list.
It is a good film. It's a good film.
That's the one with Joaquin Phoenix.
Danny
right?
Glover. Danny Glover's in it too. I love
We're
the
not
Christmas
talking
light,
about the
making
same.
this a Christmas movie. Sorry. It's not. Yeah, as I told somebody, I said, the way you decide if a movie is a Christmas movie or not is if you take Christmas out of it, does it impact the story? Like Lethal Weapon, not really a Christmas film. It's not really. Yes, it's Christmas is in there. The music is Christmassy, but the fact is, if you take the Christmas elements out of it, you still have the same story. Die Hard, on the other hand, the entire story is driven by the fact that it's Christmas.
Is that why you set it up for the Christmas matinee?
Of course.
Die Hard?
Wasn't that the one you did for Christmas?
Yes.
I
do
just
believe so.
saw the other day that we have a Christmas matinee.
It's a Christmas movie.
Now I like how when after he kills the Asian replicant, he deposits him on the floor with respect.
Yeah,
He
because
doesn't
he's a
let him
soldier.
fall.
I like this moment here where this one salutes him when he sees him that he's alive, because they all thought he was dead, and he's the highest ranking of the group. He's a sergeant.
You can't blame them. He looks pretty dead.
This is where Gary Busey's character makes his position clear. I didn't hear that. I'm the captain. And Jason Isaacs' character is such a slime ball. Losing men in combat is one thing. Abandoning them, we are not leaving them. And this is where Jason Isaacs fucking murders him. There, he just got shot. So these three get their just desserts. Well, that's how I feel too, Shanatsky, that Zimmer makes noise.
Yeah.
You know, a theme should have an impact on you emotionally. And like when, I swear to God, when I'm watching Superman Returns, when he's, the first time they use the theme in the movie is when he rescues Lois Lane in the plane and soft lands it on a baseball field. When they played that theme right at that moment, I felt my heart swell and my throat got tight, because just a theme should, the musical theme should have that kind of impact on you. Zimmer has never made a theme that can do that to me, ever. And he used to be an actual composer. You go back to the 80s, man, into the 90s, man, that guy wrote some music. Then something happened to him and he started just doing this droning stuff. I can't stand it. Oh man, this is a great scene right here. Soldiers have taken over. You know, now you're not aware of it yet that they have put the survivors on this ship too, but you know he's not going to leave them there because this planet's about to go nuke. I can't remember the code if it's a 6-7 or 7-6. And he just puts 7-6 in. He's there. But the way I would have said is, we're going to die anyway. Just fucking put a number in.
Yeah, right.
It's a triple nuke. You get 3 rings.
So it's a nuke.
Nuke.
You're
It's
weird.
a $6 million man nuke. Nuke.
It's a nuclear bomb.
Yeah, nuclear. That's a nuclear bomb. Don't you mean nuclear? No, nuclear. The kid's like, I'm going to grow up to be you.
Oh, yeah. He's his hero now.
I love when he wants to be held by him. That moment.
Yeah,
I like
and
that.
the kid doesn't look bothered in any way by little
By the
question
fact his
like,
dad is dead.
Where's my dad? No, that is my
It's
dad.
there's a little meanness to this movie about Sean Pertwee's character. There he is. Pick me up, Dad. I will.
The kid
They
has
I
just
love
moved on.
Look
They
at
should
the
have-
look on the face of the other soldier. Look at the face of the
Yeah.
other soldier when he does this.
What
Look
the
at that.
fuck is this?
He goes, there's like, what the fuck? We can do that?
Okay,
That's one of those unspoken moments right there where they all nod at each other and go about doing their business. You know, they're that used to working with each other.
I think they should have made Connie Nielsen's character a widow instead of killing the husband.
I think it was a bad idea having Sean Pertwee as her husband, because she was clearly attracted to him from the beginning, and that's troublesome in the story. And I think that it makes her not that good a person. Now, agreed, she never acts on it, but it's still, I don't know, it's very disconcerting. I'm not a big fan of love triangles, because a love triangle takes place when one of the people is wishy-washy and can't make up their fucking mind. And I don't like people like that. I like people who are decisive, know who they are, know what they're about. So that's it. That was the movie, man. I love that film. What?
Do we have here the Game Over Man? We should play every that clip with the end of every slideshow.
I think it's in the main one. But
okay.
Okay, so According to Paul Anderson, Kurt Russell worked out 3 or 4 hours a day. I heard it was 5 hours a day for
Crazy.
18 months to get himself pumped up and in condition to play this role. Because Russell thought it was so important to Todd's character, Anderson made Event Horizon in '97 in the interim while waiting for Russell to get in shape. Clint Eastwood loved the original script and was attached to direct the film for a very short period of time in the 80s. Let's see. Yeah, David Webb Peoples points out that this is a sidequel to Blade Runner. It is connected, and that Ridley is aware of it.
David Webb. Isn't that the real name of Jason Bourne in the movies?
I can't remember. I know he's from
think it
Nixa,
is.
Missouri. I remember that. He's from Nixa, Missouri. And I said, it says Bourne, Nixa, Missouri. And I said, that's not true. There's no hospital there. There's only a hospital 20 miles away in Springfield. He would have been born in Springfield.
Unless he was born at home.
Possibly.
Oh,
That was brought up,
Yeah.
that he might have been born at home. Among the garbage on the planet of the USS Franklin Delano Roosevelt, which is goofy, the F-117X Remora from the movie Executive Decision was seen in the film. And, of course, the Blade Runner spinner and a piece of the spaceship from Event Horizon is in the junkyard. The Lewis and Clark.
Oh.
Yeah, there's a misnomer that said he broke his ankle. Never heard this, that he broke his ankle doing one of his own stunts. That's not what happened. He was actually not at the studio. He was in his garden at home, where he grew vegetables, and he tripped over a fucking head of cabbage.
That sucks. Sounds way better when you say it happened during the stunt.
Yeah, I know. It sounds so much cooler.
Yeah, it's not cool to get injured by cabbage.
Oh, this is cool. Todd's weapons training record lists the USMC Smart Gun and the M41A pulse rifle, both references to Aliens.
Alien.
Also, it shows the Doom Mark IV BFG, which is a reference to the game Doom. Here's the most ironic part of this movie. Are you ready?
Go.
They didn't make enough money to even match what they paid Kurt Russell to be in this film. Off this movie in the theater. Yeah, he got paid $20 million to be in this film, and they only made 14 in the theater.
I mean, if you look at the reviews on IMDb, there's a lot of people giving this movie shit. So I'm not alone in not liking
Gab
it.
is leaving.
Hey, Gap, see you later.
Bye, Gab.
Oh, because I was wondering how they did that, because those are real snakes in the movie, and those are Thai vipers, those green vipers. Very fucking dangerous. And I wasn't aware of this. Ooh, I bet this pissed off some people at the SPCA.
That they kill a real viper.
They put stitches around their mouths.
Oh.
So they couldn't open their mouths.
That is evil.
Nevertheless, when Kurt Russell is seen to be holding one of the snakes, it's actually not his hand. It's the snake handler's hand. The snakes were deemed to be too dangerous for him to be holding it. In the commentary for Big Trouble in Little China, Kurt Russell stated that he only took another action film at his age because he wanted a good paycheck, and only stuck with it after breaking an ankle and a foot because he still wanted that paycheck.
Well,
Curiously,
20
given
minutes.
his support of new tech over old, Colonel Meekham's sidearm throughout the film is a Colt single-action Army revolver. Arguably, this is the oldest handgun in the film. It's the oldest weapon in the film. Kurt Russell sustained a broken ankle, tripping on a... Yeah, the crawlers are built on mining hauling trucks. That's what they were built on the chassis of. The original script by David Webb, it was not written in 82. It was written in 1981. Oh, they got their fucking facts wrong here. It was originally titled The Base, directed by Ted Kotchoff, and Sylvester Stallone were involved in the project. That was just one of them. This is after Clint Eastwood had left the project because Blade Runner tanked. Because Clint was attached to it, and while Blade Runner was in the theaters. Kurt Russell stated also that a sequel was planned had the film done well. It was a flop upon release of the film's U.S. box office, and immediately it did not get an international release. I do know this. What they ended up doing out of panic is immediately released it on video and VHS and DVD. And so it never got an international release. The original trailer, featured a spectacular space battle involving 20 to 30 ships around a planet. The film contained no such scene, nor could it plausibly have done so, except perhaps as a flashback. So it's something that just probably ended up on the editing room floor. And that happens. You'll get stuff that was originally meant to be in the film that ends up being in the trailer, but it's not in the film. Like one of my favorite moments in Dirty Rotten Scoundrels is in the trailer, is when the two of them are walking along there in the Riviera. There's this woman, this older woman, like, oh, look out on the water. And she's standing on the edge of the wall over the water. And Steve Martin walks by and pushes her into the ocean. Just keeps walking.
Okay.
Not in the film, not in the movie, but it's in the trailer. Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. When young Todd is on top of another kid in the classroom punching him, the alphabet on the wall can be seen with military words for the letters. That's interesting. I didn't notice that. I'll have to go back and see that. Combat, fight. Oh, yeah. These are some of the words. A is for armor. B is for battle. C is for combat. F is for fight. G is for guff. H is for harm. I don't know what. Okay, that was a weird word. When they first submitted the film to the MPAA, the movie got an NC-17 rating, and some of the violence had to be cut down for R rating. The eye gouging scene in the fight between Todd and Kane in the beginning was the only
that was nasty.
The most heavily cut scene. Despite being advertised in the UK cinemas, the film performed so badly in the US release, Warner Brothers decided not to release it theatrically, which is what I just told you about, and instead went straight to pay-per-view and video. Freeze frame the Trinity Moon's data head-out display in the closing scene, and you will find several references to The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. The top archive specifications comes from with ZZ9.plural.za, the sector in which Earth is reported to be in, which comes up in Zaphod mode. And on the right, under search results, you can see Slarta Bartfast, complete with an HHG reference from Hitchhiker's Guide. That's funny.
Nice.
Keanu Reeves, before Kurt Russell, was set to play the part of Todd. Todd's units, it's when the budget rocketed up to 65 million, they're like, Warner's like, no, we're not gonna. He's not tried and true. Kurt Russell is. So we'll greenlight it then. One of the sound bites when Kane is pounding the residents is music from Led Zeppelin's Immigrant Song. One of the trash items viewed in the junkyard after Todd is kicked out of the refugee community is a green AMC Gremlin, which was a piece of shit car and belongs on a junk planet. They say rumored to be. It's not rumored to be. It's said by the guy who created it that it's in the Blade Runner universe. They put rumored. Some of these people that do these updates, this is why I go in there. I've been a user on IMDb for years, and I've had to correct a lot of their shit. In fact, something Anima caught, I updated and corrected.
Well, it was classical music mistake.
And I've never had an edit I've done for IMDb that wasn't approved.
Yeah, I remember it took a while for that one to get approved, but I couldn't let that pass.
Okay, so when the data of the Trinity moons is shown on screen, the right side shows the following reference to other sci-fi films or TV shows. Eminiar 7, which is a planet on Star Trek, the original series. Planet 10, planet mentioned in Buckaroo Banzai, Across the Eighth Dimension, which I love that fucking movie. Slaughter Bartfast, which is from Hitchhiker's Guide. And the Anoate System, which is Star Wars and the Clone Wars. Both Star Wars and the Clone Wars, it's mentioned. It's part of the Kessel binary system, and that's mentioned too. Todd's combat history, I don't need to go into that one, but they mention 2 locations that Roy Batty fought in from Blade Runner. Oh, that's interesting. In the trailer contained a riff from More Human Than Human, written by Sean Eastwood, performed by White Zombie, which is a Blade Runner song. It's not from Blade Runner, it's a song written about Blade Runner. By the time the film was made, it was already 15 years old, the script. Due to an allergic reaction to his face makeup used for Todd's facial branding, the text can still be clearly read on Kurt Russell's face to this day in certain lighting. Kurt attempted to sue the studio, but this was thrown out of court on the basis that Kurt actually is O positive.
What?
I'll read this to you again.
That has to be bullshit.
Due to an allergic reaction to the face makeup used for Todd's facial branding, the text can still be read on Kurt's face to this day in certain lighting, meaning that there's like either darkening of the skin or a bump. There's a texture. Kurt attempted to sue the studio, but this was thrown out of court on the basis that Kurt Russell is actually O positive.
Oh my God, I cannot believe that.
No, me neither. This is too weird.
They would not approve it. IMDb wouldn't allow it to be proved if it didn't have a citation. So during the War of Six Cities scene, the map hanging on the wall is the plan of the Moscow Metropolitan. Oh, that's interesting. The name of Todd 3465 reference references director Paul Anderson's birth date, which is March 4th, 65. 3465. That's neat. During the climactic battle scene, a piece of the music score has a 5-note horn fanfare. There it is. That might sound familiar. It sounds similar to the cues from Aliens and Ripley's Rescue by Jerry Goldsmith.
Deleted Scenes has doubts about that story too. It's just too weird to be real.
I can look it up and find out.
I mean, not the part where it's still visible. I believe that, but the reason for dismissing it in court.
Dismissal.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? I mean,
Oh my God. But leave it to Hollywood.
Yeah, really. You want crazy? Go to Hollywood.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna have to do a deeper search for this.
Oh,
Yeah, I can't find anything on it. I can find stuff on his tripping over the cabbage, but I can't find anything. So I'll have to do a deeper dive into it later. Well, it's hard to get stuff past the editors over there because I've like I said, I've never had any of my updates rejected, but I know people who have had updates rejected.
well, you have corrected updates, so
Well, I've made corrections too, yeah, because they'll have part of it will be right, but part of it will be wrong, and I'll go in and edit that. Like the music, they had the wrong music for that one song that you had listed, and what was that? I can't even remember what that was, Anima.
It was Mozart, but I don't remember what. They claimed they claimed that it was something completely different, and I can't let shit like that fly. Like, come on, do your research.
And I'm going to show this graphic real quick. This is why, because early on, before this film got released, I heard there was some hubbub because Harlan Ellison is a litigious motherfucker. He was a prick. Great writer, but a fucking prick as a person. I never wanted to meet him, and I had opportunity. No, I don't want to meet him. So I don't want to meet people who are going to be a fucking asshole in my presence. But Harlan Ellison sued James Cameron over Terminator and gets a thank you credit because Terminator is clearly taken from this story, Soldier. First, he did a screenplay for the show, Outer Limits, and then he later wrote it as a book. And I just couldn't help but wonder, because early on they brought it up that the name of the film Soldier and some of the things that they were hearing were awfully similar to Harlan Ellison stuff, which tells me that Harlan Ellison had been talking about it. But then nothing ever happened, and his name is not mentioned anywhere in association with this film. So that means to me that when he finally saw the script and maybe even saw the film, he realized that it has no relation other than title to what he wrote. But it is interesting that story that inspired Terminator is called Soldier. Let's see. Oh, A Demon with a Glass Hand was a great one. That was Outer Limits too, and that was Robert. God, what was his name from My Spy? Culp. Robert Culp. And by the way, shot inside the Bradbury Building, which is best known for being in Blade Runner. It's also in another movie with Jack Nicholson called Wolf, which is one of my favorite werewolf films, but not because of the werewolf, but because of the movie itself is so fucking fun. That's true. Harlan Tracy was instrumental in that happening. Absolutely. Because he told me that story himself. God, man, I miss Tracy. It really hurts that I can't just call him because I wanted to do an episode where we went over all my favorite episodes that he wrote.
Oh, that would have been great.
Because I talked to him about it. He agreed to it. Never going to happen now. I know Diana Botsford, and she wrote one of my favorite episodes, but I'm not sure we get along anymore. Because I said some mean things about her. True. Oh. They were honest. They were true. But I probably should have held my tongue. She still lives here in Springfield. And she wrote the episode where the bridge crew get made into kids and they're stuck on an elevator or a turbo lift. And it's the episode where Worf helps deliver O'Brien's baby.
Oh, yeah, I
From
remember
forward.
that one.
She wrote that episode.
Huh.
She and I became friends because my boss introduced us and says, you guys have something in common. You both worked on something for Star Trek. And I said, what did you do? She wrote, and I'm like, you wrote that fucking episode. I love that episode. And I told her, I said, yeah, I did the 2 Star Trek paintings, you know? So. It says, he asked Cameron, and according to Harlan, he told Cameron, I ripped off a couple of Harlan Ellison short stories.
At least you admit
So
it.
he fessed up to it. What ended up going public though is that because he said the story was based on a dream he had, but he also admitted to having seen the episode of Outer Limits. So once he admitted to having seen that, it was a done deal. He had to give him credit and probably write him a nice little paycheck.
Oh, for sure.
Wait, what? Martin, what is this? Wait, I remember it being shown in cinemas in Venezuela. What was?
Soldier.
Oh. Well, is Venezuela is it is the foreign market, but because it's attached to the United States, I don't think it gets included as foreign market, but it should be. But so you did get to see it there. So they at least released it there. But they didn't release it to Europe or Asia. I know that.
I know that it wasn't long. I think it was for like a month on theater.
It makes sense to release it in all the Americas and then stop it once it doesn't do well.
Yeah. Yeah, 14 million is all it made in the box office here. That's bad. That's
That
really
is
bad.
really bad.
And I think it's a much better film than 14 million. But it made its money back. It did.
Eventually, yeah. But
it's that eventual thing. The same thing with Blade Runner. The only reason why Blade Runner got a sequel is because of how much money. It was one of the biggest selling VHSs. It was one of the first Warner home videos.
yeah, but to at first not even make the movie the money to pay the star of the movie, that hurts.
Yeah. Yeah, Kurt Russell getting paid $20 million, man. I love Kurt Russell, but he is not a $20 million a movie actor. He's not, he's not Harrison Ford.
No.
Harrison Ford had that kind of pull for a while, which is why for years he was the highest paid actor in Hollywood. Then Jim Carrey got some of that, and Eddie Murphy got some of that. Becoming a movie star doesn't mean you're a great actor. It just means you're a movie star.
Well, you just named 2 who are not great actors.
No. Now, don't get me wrong. Harrison Ford has done films where I thought he did a really good job acting. He did a great job in Witness. God, he was good in Witness as John Book. Good film.
Regarding Henry,
I love that fucking movie. I don't care that J.J. Abrams wrote the original script to that. I don't care. I fucking love that movie. When he's standing there and John Leguizamo shoots him at point blank range in the head, and he doesn't. He's like, well, wait, and he's talking. He's got a bullet hole in his head.
Yeah.
We can talk about this. And then he walks out and stumbles and falls outside the store. God damn, that was so fucking good. Yeah, I love that movie. I love Regarding Henry. I love the big burly black dude in that too, that's his caregiver. And he was on that show that Anima and I started watching. They canceled it finally after 3 or 4 seasons. Tacoma Fire Department.
Oh, yeah. I was so
the
sad.
Big black guy in it. Oh,
ended.
man, it broke my heart. I love that show.
Me too.
Yeah, nobody is. Nobody has that kind of draw. George Clooney was hitting that point in the late 90s after he did Peacemaker. Whew.
Oh,
That's a good film, by the way. I wouldn't
yes.
mind doing that. I would not mind doing that here.
I was going to ask you if you haven't done it already. Yes, I love
No,
it
we have
because
not done it. I would love
Adding
to do
it
that
to the
film.
list. Peacemaker.
I like that
What?
movie is fast pacing all the time.
Yeah, that fast rope scene. Holy shit! I don't know if he did his own stunt there or if he had whoever did that fast rope scene. Fucking impressed me. How quick they went down that rope in that action scene for the truck. Whew, crazy. But Harlan, before he died, I will say this about him: he was a litigious motherfucker. He thought way too much of his writing too. Great writer. He is a great writer, but thought way too much. And proof of this is he thought, because he hated Star Trek because they changed his script because he killed McCoy
Yeah, you can't do that.
in the city on. It's like that's part of the Holy Trinity. The three
Yeah.
main characters. You don't get to kill one of the three main characters just because you want to, because it sounds like a good idea for a story. This is a TV series.
Bad idea to do that.
That it was either Peacekeeper or Peacemaker.
Peacekeeper. No, Peacemaker. Peacemaker.
Then I said it right.
That's what I wrote down anyway. So
No, what he's saying is that it looks like a Tom Clancy novel without Tom Clancy.
Oh,
okay.
yeah, the Peacemaker. Nicole Kidman and George Clooney.
Because the Peacemaker is not George Clooney. It's the fucking bomber.
Man, I'm just looking at the poster right now. I'm like, damn,
We have a comment here from Cam. Maybe you have something or two to say about it. Yeah.
Yeah, now both of them are dead. Yeah, Tracy, I've known Tracy for a bit, thanks to Dawn. And just a sweetheart of a guy. He really was. The thing that stuck about Tracy was he had a terrible connection out there where he lived.
God, yes,
And-
I remember.
And just he would robot, and it was so hard to understand some of the shit he was saying. But then I would talk to him on the phone, and that would work. We'd just have a phone conversation. He was a great dude. It's fucking sad. And by the way, the year he died, he also had a close encounter. He
Really?
saw some shit over their property. That was crazy. Some lights that were unexplained. It wasn't the military. And it wasn't civilian airlines. There were no
Interesting.
blinking. There were no blinking lights on it that you would see normally on a plane or a helicopter. So there you go. Yeah, we'll end it now. So great. It was fun talking about this film. I like this film a lot. I wish they had done better in the box office because we would have gotten a sequel. Absolutely would have gotten a sequel. So, but that's it, guys. We're going to get out of here. Have a great week. And this is Military Monday. Yeah, I love doing my military stuff. Yay.
Bye, nerds.
Oh.